This is Andrew for the Chosen Prime with a quick video preview of a test shot for Generation Toy GT-4 J4ZZ. When you say it out loud, it spells jazz. So this is kind of their take on a updated jazz from Masterpiece Collections. He's kind of scaled for Masterpiece Collections, but done in a modern look. As you can see, he's based off an updated Porsche. It's almost like it's a 911 Cayman or GT. It is missing intakes on the sides here, but he does have the back wing in his car mode here. He does have 4 rubber tires that do roll freely. Rubber for his rear view mirrors, and as well as his back here, it's kind of a stronger rubber for his wing in the back here. Overall, he is painted with this pearlescent white paint throughout, on top of white plastic. It's really striking to see in person. It just kind of gives a nice glow throughout. All the exterior is painted nicely with that color. And then again, same nice details with the paints here on the roof and hood, as well as the front detail here for his intakes in the front, as well as the back of the vehicle. It's got painted detail as well. Just really cool looking modern update here of Jazz, maybe based off of his IDW look. So he does come with a gun, and you can take the peg on the gun and peg it into his roof. And there's this dedicated hinge on the weapon that can have it raise or lower if you want to kind of have him have armaments here in car mode. Being a test shot, I don't have any instructions or packaging, but let's go ahead and we'll transform him into his robot mode. To transform Jazz, we come to his underside here, which you can see is pretty clean. There's a panel here we want to flip down to get access to the arms. Open up the doors on each side, lift up on the arms, and then this entire chunk right here will pivot outwards. If we get clearance, you just kind of want to rotate the arm out of the way so you can go ahead and rotate this entire piece around. So again, come underside here, just kind of rotate it so you can kind of flip this entire chunk, lift up, push up and lift up on the panel to lift up the hood. It'll unpeg from here, come to his head here, and we want to feed it through the hole in the car hood. Go to the legs next. Flip this panel up out of the way temporarily so you have access to the lower legs. Come to the spoiler in the back. Make sure to untab it so that you can split the legs, like so. Come to the underside of a leg, and with this blue panel, this blue and silver panel, flip it out of the way so you can see the inner leg. Lift up on this panel here, which will then let you kind of pull up the leg enough. You kind of get everything out of the way to be able to flip in this little clear window, and that is what lets you, once you rotate this little clear window inwards to the inner leg, lets it so that this leg can now extend fully. That whatever that window seems to keep it so that it's locked. So the other side, lift up on this panel, lift up on the back here, get enough wiggle room so that you can go ahead and rotate in this window inwards, and eventually it'll fit and hide. But that'll again give you clearance so that you can go ahead and extend the leg fully at the knee. Come to this panel here, we'll lift up and this entire piece will hinge forward. This piece will fold in on itself, the back of the car, and there's a little kind of peg hole tab that matches this piece here, and then you can come fully up. We'll do that on both sides. So unpeg this piece, fold it in, and kind of collapse it. The knee will now fully extend into the correct position. Come to the front side of the legs. The toes here will rotate, and there's a heel spur as well on the other side here. There's actually a little bit of anti-slip material here for the toe. Make sure this little clear window is rotated fully in. And then this piece here, the silver piece, actually has a little panel that slides out. And now this will tab into his knee, as well as there's a piece that here next to the wheel that'll lock into place, making his and completing his lower leg like that. So open this panel up, flip this silver piece out, make sure the window's in, rotate the toe so that it's flat, rotate the heel spur out, fold this in, tabbing it in into place. Don't forget here on his feet to flip out these little panels here on the inside to kind of fill out the sides of his feet. And there is his lower legs done. We can now rotate this lower torso to come to the front. Open up his panel here. This chest flap, there's a kind of peg here that'll fold in and peg in on itself, making his chest. And then something to kind of look for here and be careful of is there's two panels here that are in his chest here that they fold out to kind of fill out his midsection. These little gray panels, you want to flip them out, fold this down, and then this white piece here will fit into this slot here. It's actually easy if you want to. You can kind of lift the head up and kind of grab underneath and make sure that this all tabs into place in there. You can kind of see his torso fills out. The head, underneath the head, there's a little panel here that flips out. That's got a tab that matches on top of the kind of hood here to hold the head into place. This is a matter of kind of getting those multiple hinges kind of set up correctly. The backpack here will pull out. This panel here will fold in kind of like a Masterpiece Prowl. The arms have multiple kind of hinge joints here. If we look, you can see that there's a joint kind of hidden in the arm there, so you have a lot of posability here. But you want to rotate this around. This little weapon piece here will fold around and kind of face forward like this. The hand will split in half like most kind of Masterpiece style figures like this. It's a matter of just opening this panel up, flipping his fist out and closing it back down, and rotating the arm around. So we come to the other side. Again, I kind of recommend, you do have options, but there's a hinge, separate hinge here at the shoulder. You want to kind of lift up on it to kind of get it higher up, and then face it with the smoother side facing forward. Kind of put this little missile piece kind of facing forward. Come to the other hand, lift up on this panel to expose the other hand. The windows here on the wings will fold down, and it's just a matter of kind of situating all his parts however you like. But there is GT-4 J4ZZ in his updated kind of Masterpiece style Jazz mode. So we'll go ahead and take a look at some details for him. Taking a closer look here at Jazz, you can see that he really does look like what a G1 Jazz looked like, with the accurate head, overall kind of chest piece, and overall kind of structure throughout. The same nice pearlescent white paint is visible here on all these exposed surfaces. That's really striking in person. And just overall nice detail kind of throughout the figure. Nice bits of silver paint for the legs. Panels to fill out things like the feet and the chest. It's overall very kind of clean and detailed, and it's very sturdy. It's a very sturdy, nothing really loose on this figure, which is pretty cool. As far as articulation, his head here is on a swivel as well as a pivot hinge, so you get a lot of options there. He does have blue light piping, that's nice. As far as his arms, there's a whole lot of different hinges and joints here in the arms. So one, the wheels themselves are on a double hinge. They can move up and down and kind of rotate. The pivot part where the shoulder is can rotate, so this can rotate in and out if you want to. The arm is on that double hinge that we raised so that the actual shoulder was higher. The arm itself has got a hinge here when you're sliding outwards, if you like. He does have a bicep swivel. He does have double jointed elbow. His hand is a standard kind of single pinned fingered hand like most modern Masterpieces. This little weapon here, it's on its own little kind of pivot hinge here on the back, so you can move it up and down, and it's got multiple kind of, again, pivot hinges to move and rotate if you'd like to. You can hide it if you wanted to. And furthermore, there actually is just a simple little screw here that you can remove it if you want to. It's not kind of crucial to any part of the transformation, but it's nice that Generation Toy kind of added that extra little weapon here if you wanted it. He does have a torso rotation. If you move his hip skirts out of the way, his universal hips can move forward and back and to the side fully, so he's got a lot of posability options there. He does have a ratcheted knee, as well as a knee swivel. His toes and overall feet are on a pivot, so you can move them in and out for kind of have them be flat-footed. The toes move separate as well, and they do have that little bit of kind of slip material on the toe here and the heel spur. So you've got a lot of options as far as posing him there. These little wings in the back can move forward and back if you want to kind of move them back. And then the back panel here, it can either be lower like this or you can raise it up. It's kind of personal preference on how you want to kind of have it pushed on the back. But overall, just a really cool kind of robot mode here. As far as some of the poses you can get him into, again, with the knees and the hips, you can get him in some nice, strong kind of poses here. A lot of options with the hands, torso rotation. He's got a lot of emotion here in his robot mode. It's just a really solid, solidly built figure. Just really cool looking version of Jazz. You can have him look kind of stoic and get him with his hands on his hips, get his hand out. Kind of just however you want this Jazz to kind of be posed. You have a lot of options. They've built a solid toy here, and definitely a masterpiece style toy version of Jazz. He looks really cool. As far as his weapon, it can fit into his hand. It isn't a standard kind of peg slot, but it kind of slides, kind of locks into place, separate from the fingers, so he can hold his weapon. And again, the fist can rotate if you want him to kind of hold it up. A lot of different, again, options with Jazz here with Poseability. One interesting feature with this robot mode, if we take the gun and we take a look here at these little kind of waist flaps, there's a magnet there. And so what's interesting is that you can actually take the gun, and it's not the super strong, but you can store the gun there on his side when that flaps up. Unfortunately, the magnet's not quite strong enough when it's just with the plastic. This doesn't hold, but you can, if you wanted to, kind of have his gun holstered there if you so choose. So let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons. Robot mode comparisons for Jazz with some Masterpiece Autobots. Here we've got Masterpiece Trax and Masterpiece Prowl. As you can see, he does fit this scale here of Autobot car robots. He is essentially the same height as Prowl, a little bit smaller than Trax, but stylistically in robot mode, I mean, Jazz fits right into alongside these other Masterpiece Autobots. He's got the right kind of mounted detail, right posability, nice engineering. He just looks like what you would expect a Masterpiece version of Jazz to look like, at least here in robot mode, with a slightly updated car mode. Car mode comparisons to other Masterpiece Autobots. Again, Jazz here is similar kind of style and scale to Masterpiece Autobots cars. And you can see that he fits quite well, at least scale-wise and overall design-wise, with these other official products. Just with an updated take here for Jazz if you want to add him to your Masterpiece Autobot collection. Some people have wondered if Generation Toy Jazz here is kind of meant from classic collections. So here are the Reveal the Shield versions of Jazz. This one's got repro labels on it, hence why he's got a little bit more detail. But you can see that this version of Jazz here is much larger than the deluxe, the official deluxe that fits classics and generations collections. And this Jazz, the official one, is kind of the correct scale for most classics collections. So while Jazz here in the middle could work, he is considerably larger, and I think he's definitely meant to either be standalone or part of a Masterpiece collection overall. Car mode comparisons. Again, the one on the right's got repro labels on it, and here you can just see how much larger J4ZZ is than the Generations Reveal the Shield Classics version of Jazz here. And the same thing with the detail, whereas these were just kind of a white plastic, whereas this is nice, again, shiny, metallic, pearlescent white paint. Comparing Jazz here to another third-party updated car robot. This is Transformation Disorder, or an updated Masterpiece style of Wild Rider, but done with a new updated car mode. You can see that these two look kind of similar, side by side, same kind of G1-esque robot modes, or Masterpiece style Autobot robot modes, but then their car modes here, and you'll see in a second, have updated for modern cars. Car mode comparisons with Disorder. And again, you can see how similar they are as far as their overall kind of design, scale, and build. And them both being kind of updated takes on these characters with modern cars and modern styling. Kind of fit Masterpiece kind of scale collections. Some final thoughts here for Generation Toy GT-4 J4ZZ, or their take on an updated Masterpiece kind of scale Jazz. By far, this is the best Jazz toy I've ever gotten my hands on. It feels like a Masterpiece figure. From reduction to paint, even this test shot form, GT has kind of knocked it out of the park. It's just a kind of an amazing toy to kind of hold, play with, transform, overall look at. The paint, the plastic, the design, it looks really cool. It's just fun to play with, and it almost might be a standalone figure. Does it fit your G1 styled Masterpiece collection? Maybe, maybe not. It kind of depends on the alt mode. But he kind of does good enough to kind of stand on his own, just to kind of be an excellent version of Jazz here. He's just really a fun toy to kind of have on the shelf. He's currently available for pre-order at the Chosen Prime. If you've liked what you've seen, I highly recommend him, so take care.